Hi everyone, I'm Walter, and today we are going to talk about business travel. Now, I love to travel, and I'm sure most of us love to travel. But some people have to do it for business, which I hear actually isn't as fun as it sounds. So today we're talking with Scott McCartney, who is actually a Wall Street Journal reporter. And he is going to give us a few of his tips for business traveling. Let's see his tips, so let's check out the video.
Hi, I'm Scott McCartney, travel columnist with the Wall Street Journal. I'm here to give you some tips on flying to the other side of the world in a seat like this. And I'll be testing my tips on the longest airline flight ever, taking off from Newark, New Jersey and landing in Singapore.
Okay, so Scott said that he's taking off from Newark, New Jersey and landing in Singapore, which I believe is the longest flight at the moment, out of all the flights anyway. Talking about long flights, for me, I guess I'm pretty lucky. I haven't had a long non-stop flight. I think the longest non-stop flight I've had was 9 to 10 hours from Incheon to Sydney, I think it was. I've had long travel plans, which were stopping over in Taiwan or Singapore on the way to Australia. And that was about 32 hours, which means I wasn't able to really sleep well or lay down for 32 hours, and that was extremely painful. But I was pretty lucky I haven't actually crossed time zones. Since Korea and Australia are basically in the same time zone, I haven't had to experience too much jet lag, so I'm pretty lucky. Anyway, let's continue on with the video.
I'm in Newark, ready to go on the longest flight in the world. Feeling good now? Let's see what it's like when I get there.
So on the title, it said how to survive your next long-haul flight. The word haul, H-A-U-L, is pronounced haul. Now it means a distance to be traveled. So another example might be a long-haul flight means a long-distance flight, or it's a 365-kilometer haul to Busan from Seoul. Let's continue.
On an aircraft, humidity levels are 20% or less. For reference, a comfortable level is 40 to 50%. This dries out your mouth, skin, and everything else. It can cause fatigue, headaches, bad breath, muscle, and joint aches.
So Scott was talking about the humidity levels within the airplane and how they differ from the outside. Now, he was talking about this point which he said, this dries out your mouth, skin, and everything else. To dry out is something that loses all the moisture, okay? Or another way we can use the word dry out is to undergo or cause to undergo treatment for alcoholism or drug addiction. So there are two meanings. So as an example, for the second meaning, he went to an expensive clinic to dry out. So these are mainly used for people with alcohol problems. If you enjoy alcohol, that's fine, but if you become what's known as an alcoholic and you need to stop, then you need to dry out. Let's continue.
So drink up and think about your food choices. Pick items with higher water content. For example, Singapore Airlines has replaced potatoes with riced cauliflower. And one of my favorite tips, bring saline solution to keep your nose moist and eye drops to keep your eyes moist. Put them in a baggie that you can store in a seat back pocket so you have easy access.
So he's explaining a little bit more about how to stay hydrated, okay? So he did say at the very start where he said, drink up, okay? Drink up is very well known in Korea as bottoms up. Now, native speakers also understand bottoms up as well, but we also say drink up. as well. Now, drink up reminds me of another expression, which is eat up. To eat something all up, or usually at the start of a dinner, I'll say to my friends, let's eat up, meaning let's get started to eat. And also, we use eat up to use large amounts of time or money. So as an example, raising one child eats up a lot of my income, meaning it uses a lot of money. He also mentioned to put his kind of items in a baggie that you can store in your seat back pocket, which is the pocket in front of the seat, like the seat in front of you. Now, a baggie is a small plastic bag used to store things, or in Korean, it's a zipper bag. Now, a zipper bag is understandable for native speakers to, if you say that to a native speaker, they will understand. But when we think of a zipper bag, we might think of maybe a backpack or something to that liking. Baggie is a noun, 명사, B-A-G-G-I-E, but we also use it as an adjective, but spelled differently. So B-A-G-G-Y is our adjective, and it's to describe like loose clothing. So example, baggy pants or hip-hop pants, but we would say baggy pants, baggy shirt, baggy dress, etc. Let's continue.
Tip number 2, clean your seat. Dehydration dries out the mucous membranes in your nose, which trap unwanted germs. Without them, you're more likely to catch things from your fellow passengers. But unlike what you might think, sickness isn't spread through the airplane's circulating air supply. It's surfaces you need to watch out for.
Okay, so to summarize what he was just saying, most people think that the air conditioner in the airplane is actually the reason why many people catch germs of other people. That's not true, and I also was very shocked about this as well. But he said that it's actually the cleanest air that goes through the cabin. So he said, you're more likely to catch things from your fellow passengers, meaning maybe the passengers around you as well. So an important point to learn is the expression more likely to. More likely to, example, 동사, verb. More likely to catch things from your fellow passengers. Or example, if you don't wear a mask, you're more likely to catch the flu. That means that there is a very high chance that this might happen.
So embrace your inner germaphobe and wipe down your armrest and tray table and seat back. And breathe easier knowing that modern airplanes have advanced air filtration systems that trap germs and bacteria almost to operating room standards. So open that air vent to full blast and aim it at your nose. That's the cleanest air you're going to get.
Just to summarize what he said, he was expressing more about the fact that it's actually quite clean air going through the cabin rather than the germs that we think that are going through the airplane. Now, he said at the start to embrace your inner germaphobe. So a germaphobe is a person who is afraid of germs. Someone who is very scared of catching something, touching something, or even touching other people. So germaphobe is not the only style of phobe. So a phobe is a person who is afraid of something. So example, trypophobe is a person who's scared of like little or many circles or many dots, as an example. Claustrophobe is a person who is scared of confined spaces, very small spaces. You can also say that you're claustrophobic as well. He also mentioned to wipe down your armrest and tray table and seat back. Now, wipe down is also confused with wipe off. Now, to wipe down is to clean a surface quickly rather than thoroughly. Okay, so usually if you think about a restaurant waiter might wipe down your table. So example, wipe down the table or wipe down the wall, to do it, I guess, quickly rather than thoroughly. Wipe off, on the other hand, is to take the object off the surface. So like a stain or a mark. So if I'm wiping off the dust off the table, okay? So there's an object on the table I'm wiping off. He also mentioned a lot of airplane terms, like things within the airplane, like armrest. There's also things like headrest, which is where your head rests. So it's called a headrest. Tray table, the table that comes down in front of you. Overhead compartments or luggage compartments. The overhead compartment or the luggage compartment is the compartment above your head that you store your luggage in. So a compartment is a place where you store something in. He also mentioned to open that air vent to full blast and aim it at your nose. Now, to talk about the expression full blast, is to turn something onto the highest level. We sometimes say turn something on full blast. Now, these things that we turn on full blast are like the volume or the air conditioner or the heater, something that can raise or has a level of power. So if I'm turning on my hairdryer to full blast, it's up to the highest level. Other examples might be like, I love this song, so turn it to full blast. So I'm talking about the volume. Or it's so hot, turn on the aircon to full blast is like turn it up to the highest degree of power, meaning maybe the airflow, so it becomes very strong.
Tip 3, move. Depending on your airline, you may be only looking at 31 or 32 inches of space in coach, which is awfully tight for a long flight. Rather than be uncomfortable, get up frequently. If you don't, there are side effects like decreased blood flow, which can increase the chances of blood clots. Try setting an alarm on your phone for 3 hours into your flight. If you haven't gotten up and moved yet, it's time to stand.
So his next point was that you need to move your body while on a long flight to make sure you have blood flow running through your body. So he said, depending on your airline, you may be only looking at 31 or 32 inches of space in coach or economy class, which is awfully tight. Now, the point I'd like to teach you is awfully. Awfully plus 형용사, which is another way of emphasizing something, usually in a negative way. So we can't really say awfully good. It's very paradoxical. It's kind of the opposite, right? So we would say something like, it's awfully hot, to talk about the very hot weather that is making me uncomfortable. Or, the subway was awfully packed. Nobody really likes to be crammed into the subway, so it's a negative emphasizer. He also mentioned that if you don't, there are side effects like decreased blood flow. Now, a side effect is a secondary or typically undesirable effect of medicine or medical treatment. So if you take medicine, something negative happens because of the medicine. As we know, medicine is supposed to fix the situation. In some cases, there are side effects. He also said to set an alarm on your phone. Try to set an alarm on your phone. We often use the verb set with an alarm, watch, clock, or time.
Drink some tea or coffee. While they will dehydrate you, they have the benefit of being diuretics, which will force you to get up and go to the bathroom. And exercise. Some airlines, including Singapore, are putting exercise videos in the entertainment system, things you can do while sitting down to increase blood flow.
Okay, so his main point here was to keep moving around. And some tips to keep moving around is to force your body to do something. So drinking tea or drinking coffee and tea are considered a diuretic, means that they force you to go to the bathroom. They go through your body system quite quickly. So it dehydrates your body, but at the same time, it gets your body moving, which is a good thing if you're on a long haul flight. He also says to exercise. Now, obviously, it'd be very difficult to exercise with so many people in the cabin, but I think what he means is to get up and walk around, walking up and down the aisle, stretching maybe in front of the bathroom or in those little cabin areas. He also said that some airlines, especially in this case, Singapore Airlines, use the entertainment system as exercise videos as well.
Tip 4, adjust your body clock. Jet lag starts in the air. The cause of this common problem is that your circadian rhythm gets mixed up, causing fatigue, headaches, difficulty concentrating, and even nausea.
Okay, so what he's talking about here is what many people experience when they go cross time zones, which is jet lag. So as we might know, or maybe we don't, jet lag is extreme tiredness after flying through several time zones. You're more likely to get it when you're traveling across country rather than down or up. An example sentence might be, I'm suffering from jet lag, or I usually say, I have jet lag.
So try setting your watch to the local time right after takeoff. That'll help you know when to eat and sleep during the flight. On a very long flight, getting at least some sleep is important, and airlines will help with this by dimming the lights and lowering the temperature in the cabin at ideal times for sleep. So take their cues. Just about everybody's asleep on the plane. It's nap time. But sleep is personal, so do what's best for you. For me, that's earplugs and Ambien.
Okay, so he mentioned to take the airline's cues or the air cabin crew's cues. Cues is another word for signal. It's a direct sort of piece of information I'm giving you so you do something. So when the cabin crew turn off the lights, this is a cue for you to maybe go to sleep. Now, other things that are similar but a little bit different is maybe you know the word hint or a clue. The difference between cue or a signal and hint and clue is that one is direct. Cue and signals are direct, where hint and clues are indirect. So if I'm giving you a hint, I'm giving you indirect information to get the answer. However, if I'm giving you a cue, I'm giving you a direct information. He also said his tips were earplugs and Ambien. Now, earplugs are the plugs that go in your ears, and Ambien is a kind of sleeping pill. Now, for me, my tips, I would maybe use a sleep mask or like a face mask to put over my eyes. I usually stick my AirPods in my ears and listen to some music, or the neck pillow. I do like using the neck pillow these days. That's just to help me feel a bit more relaxed.
Tip 5, limit the booze. Alcohol both dehydrates you and messes with your circadian rhythm. This is kind of a perfect storm for a long flight, but this is one of the pleasures of travel. So take advantage if you want, just not too much.
So he's now talking about other ways to maybe relax your body to help you sleep as well. He said limit the booze. Booze is a slang term for alcohol. Other words like booze are drink. Most people actually use the word drink to describe alcohol. If someone says to you, let's grab a drink, it means let's have some alcohol together. Liquor is the formal word, I think. And in Australia, we might say grog, which is just another word for booze. You might have heard some idioms like a booze hound. A booze hound is a heavy drinker, an alcoholic or a very heavy drinker. Or to hit the booze is to go drinking. He also said, this is kind of a perfect storm for a long flight. A perfect storm is like an extremely bad situation made up of many bad things happening at the same time. So all these bad things happening to create something even worse. This is a very common weather idiom, and in English we have tons of weather idioms. Other ones include under the weather. Under the weather to mean to feel a little bit sick, or also to feel a little bit blue, sad as well. Or to save for a rainy day. This is to save money in case of maybe an emergency.
Do all that, and you should hopefully walk off the airplane feeling as good as possible. I'm off the plane after more than 18 hours. Legs are a little shaky, I didn't get much sleep, pulled an all-nighter, but I'm actually feeling better than I thought. This is the new way of travel, and it's gonna take some adjusting for people. You're gonna have to get in the right frame of mind to take on this marathon, and you're gonna have to make some preparations that really will make a difference.
Okay, so what he said there was, I didn't get much sleep. He pulled an all-nighter. All-nighter is a really common expression, especially for students, I think. To pull an all-nighter is to stay up all night, usually to do something all night. So students pull an all-nighter studying. But these days, many people use it for other reasons, like I pulled an all-nighter watching Netflix, or I pulled an all-nighter playing video games, as an example, to stay up all night to do something. Stay up all night is also a synonym as well, or to sit up all night and do something as well. We sometimes say, I didn't get a wink of sleep. This kind of implies that you were also probably very busy doing something. It also can mean that you just had trouble getting to sleep as well. So just to sum up the whole video, it was just a lot of great tips in order to maybe let the time pass very quickly while on a long flight, or while you're on a long flight, ways to look after your body and yourself. So make sure you watch the video one more time so you understand a little bit more. See you next time.